Well, hello and welcome.
Hello.
Episode 3 of InProgress. I got some big dogs with me today. I got Jayden Indrajaya and Zech Rumende. Why don't you just give us like a quick 411? Who are you?
I'm Jayden. I'm a youth leader at the Rocks Church for the Year 8 boys along with Zech.
Yes.
I'm currently a uni student studying engineering at Curtin.
Big brain.
And I'm the son of Pastor Daniel.
Oh, okay. Look at that. Name drop in the first sentence.
Wow.
Flex.
How do I follow up after that one?
I don't know.
Well, I'm Zach. I'm Zach Rumende. I'm not the son of Pastor Daniel, but I am a youth leader serving at the Rocks. Year 8 boys. Shout out Year 8 boys. But I'm doing accounting finance in my second year at Curtin. It's going good. It's going well. But yeah, it's an honor to be here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I
Phenomenal.
love it.
So, fellas, today we're talking culture. We're talking all forms of it, you know?
Right.
So it's a wild world we live in. Want to know, you guys ever been cancelled?
I have been cancelled before and many times in high school, but a lot of the things I can't say, what they're cancelled, what I got cancelled for, but what I can say is that
That's why.
what I can say is that it hurts.
It hurts.
Yeah, it
hurts
hurts.
to get
It
cancelled.
hurts bad.
Jeez.
What about you, Zeki? You been
No.
cancelled?
I'm very much a good boy. Like I you know what? I try to remember all the times I get cancelled, but nah, I don't really say anything outrageous, do anything outrageous.
Wow.
At least in the
say.
public eye anyway.
Not in the public eye.
Yeah,
Okay.
but-
But on like the Discord chat, you were like,
Maybe.
maybe. Okay.
Maybe.
What does it mean be cancelled? Like this was not a thing when I was growing up. What happens if you get cancelled?
What happens when you get cancelled?
Yeah.
So basically what happens when you get cancelled is people start to avoid you. People start to gossip about you.
Oh.
People, I guess like whatever you do, even if it's a good thing, like you're beyond saving because you already screwed up. So like people are like, it doesn't matter.
Basically,
You're the
yeah.
guy that did this. You know?
Oh, okay. So it's
It's
like
like
your whole
that.
rep is burnt.
It's like your whole rep is burned.
Okay.
You're cancelled.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
I think it's become much more of a popular term because like obviously the internet, like you said, it was before your time, but all these like big name YouTubers, rappers, celebrities doing things they shouldn't be doing, and then everyone starts hating on them because it's like morally bad, I guess. And then you just like you never recover. Like I'm trying to think of
Yeah. Usually it's one big mistake. I think.
career endings.
And that's
Yeah.
kind of
Like one mistake usually. Yeah.
yeah. I feel like the first time I came across it was like last year when Ryan Reynolds' wife, Blake Lively, I think her name is, right?
Yeah.
She like was doing some big movie and kind of like used it to promote her own
Yeah.
thing or something.
I did
But like
hear
the
about
movie was like about like relational abuse.
Yeah.
So it was like a super weird vibe.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, whoa,
I heard
you
about
can't be
that.
capitalizing on this.
Yeah.
And everyone was calling like, oh yeah, she got cancelled.
Yeah.
I
So
did
that
hear
would be
about
like, that's the big mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
like the big mistake.
It's a good example.
Okay, interesting. So, you guys both obviously Christians. You serving in church, all that sort of stuff. What we want to kind of navigate today is like how faith and culture kind of work, maybe against each other or maybe alongside each other, and what that's kind of like. So, I've got a couple of things I want to talk about.
Interesting.
The first one, just like what's one trend that you wish would come back, man? You think about it and you think fondly, nostalgia. You're like, bring it back, baby.
One trend I wish would come back.
And like any trend?
Any trend you want, man.
I don't know why, but my first thought comes. It's not really an online trend. It was back when I was a kid, when
All
this
the
was
way
when Ronaldo was popping off, and I'm a soccer guy, and everybody and their mom had a like Ronaldo cut to the side part with a line down there. The freshest, crispiest fade you could ever ask for. You'd walk out the barber like a new man, but everyone had that. I had that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
think everyone had that at one point.
Yeah. I was back in Sydney at the time, but even people here I talked to, they've had the same.
And it would have been an
experience.
even better fade in Sydney, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
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 Best
would've.
fades.
Yeah.
What about you, Jane?
Trend I wish would come back. Honestly, probably people respecting their parents.
What?
Around my age.
trend? Okay, tell me more. What do you mean by
People
this? Tell me more.
Oh, it's just like a trend in high school. Like back in my day, it's just disrespect your parents.
Oh damn.
Like
Okay.
people would flex on like cussing out their moms or their dads and whatnot.
Okay.
Yeah, that needs to come back.
Okay.
That
so
needs
you-
to
Nah,
come
I'm joking.
back?
That needs to stay away. That needs to stay away.
Oh, okay. You're about to get cancelled there.
Yeah.
yeah,
about
I'm
to get cancelled
confused.
there.
Are you trying to get cancelled on the Cancel podcast? Is that what it is?
Yes.
That's going to be a great soundbite. We should just lock
Yes.
that bit in. We'll
We
just
should.
publish that as a promo.
On the soundboard.
Or maybe we'll just send it to mum. You know, just
Yeah. Send it to my mom. Send it to my mom. But yeah, I actually don't really know.
You don't really know?
No, I don't really know what trend.
So we're like quite like how old? You guys are 19, right?
Yes.
19.
Yeah. So I'm
19.
31. So I was 12 when you guys got born.
Wow.
So I was like starting high school when you guys
Yeah,
came
yeah.
born. That's funny to think about. Trends have changed significantly, right? So we were talking off air just before this about an Eminem song that came out like back in 04, 05 called "Cleaning Out My Closet,"
Yeah.
which you guys are like, what was that? But then you guys commented, man, like you were in year 5 listening to that. Well, you know how I found out about that song? And I know this is probably a bad thing to say as a pastor, but like I illegally downloaded that song on a program called WinMX, which was this
Dang.
like, old people will get it, young adults won't. But you know what? I want to bring back music piracy,
Yes.
baby.
Oh
Yes.
man.
That is so relatable.
Yeah,
But-
because back in my day, man, it would take like an hour to download one song. It's not like Spotify
Yeah.
where you could like
Wow.
just jump on whatever.
Dang.
So if you were gonna get a song, it was like
You really wanted it.
you really wanted it.
Yeah.
But then like you could send people your songs through like MSN, which was like a messenger. So it was like some people had like great songs. You couldn't even get an album because that's like 15 hours to
Yeah,
download.
yeah.
So it was like that was a trend. I enjoyed that.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
I don't think we need to do that anymore, though.
No, we
Nowadays,
don't.
I
It's
don't think
true.
you need
Like,
to
what's
do that.
Spotify like $9 a month or something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
SoundCloud. You could use SoundCloud. That's for free.
So many
Yeah.
streaming.
And
Yeah,
SoundCloud's
yeah.
super high quality as well, right?
Yeah, it is. It's
It
pretty
is.
good.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, let's talk about this this first point I got here. Now, I've been looking forward to this podcast because everyone laughed at me when I said I was getting you to do the culture one. But I want to talk about this idea, right? Christianity sometimes gets politicized, right? But I reckon what's interesting about Christianity is it's neither fully progressive or fully conservative.
Right.
What do you guys talk to me about this concept?
Could I ask you, like, what does that mean? Fully like conservative
Yeah,
and
For the people at
and
home.
progressive
For the people at home.
Not for me, but yeah, for the people that
anyone listening. Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah, it's
That
a great.
is.
It's a great. I think you're right in doing it. When I say that, what I'm talking about is like fully progressive would be like there's no respect for tradition whatsoever. We need to recreate truth all the time, and whatever is best for this cultural moment will be the best for like without respect for anything else that's been. Highly conservative would be everything that is changing should be mistrusted, and we need to go back to the way things were.
I see.
So it's kind of like one of them is like put the brakes on, one of them is like hit the accelerator as
Yeah,
hard as
yeah.
you can.
For sure.
So what do you guys think about this idea that Christianity is neither of them, but people want to put them in both camps, right?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I agree. I think they're neither fully them, but like they share similarities, as in like Christianity can be in some respect like progressive or conservative. But I think like, especially in today, people are so quick to like categorize like Christianity into a box when it's like more, like I think the gospel and Jesus is beyond our like limited ideologies and what we like think is like trending in society today. So when putting it like if it's like fully progressive or fully conservative, I don't think it's like that in 100% this way, 100% that way. It's not to the extremes, I think.
Yeah.
I definitely agree.
Well, I think, yeah, you're completely on point. I think as long as a church preaches the gospel that like Jesus died for your sins and we all get to have a relationship with him and go to heaven and that God's love is eternal, I think it doesn't really quite matter how traditional or how like progressive it is. Obviously, it shouldn't be completely one-sided to progressive or conservative because otherwise it's not really grounded, right? But yeah, that's what I think, honestly.
So what do you reckon? Do you reckon like within that then, let's talk about this. Does truth exist? So is there objective truth?
Yes.
Yes.
There is objective truth.
Yeah, there is.
Tell me more.
Jesus died for your sins.
Like Jesus is the way, truth, and the life.
Yeah, Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. That's the one truth I can think of. And that truth it's like, it spreads into like many other truths, like love God, love your neighbor as yourself. I think,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we're in kind of a cultural moment, which is like truth kind of doesn't exist. Right. This is what's difficult. So we're kind of like postmodern. So like postmodern was like truth doesn't exist. We're now like postmodern, which is like truth is whatever you decide it to be.
Oh, yeah.
This could be like, like you do you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how then does truth, if you're saying objective truth does exist, how does that fit in with this cultural moment of like, hey, you do you, man?
Oh, I think it doesn't fit at all.
Okay, so then that's a problem, right? Like
It's a problem, yeah.
So how do you navigate that?
How do you navigate that as a Christian?
That's a hard
when your
question.
truth is different from other people who are mostly
Like
non-Christian?
that you do you mentality. I'd say like people are so quick to like want to be like almost right in the sense like in their situation they think that they can't like if say it's like a bad situation they're in or a bad circumstance they can't move past the truth they're in type of situation where it's like yeah you do you but Jesus is the answer, like you can't work your way around a bad situation without real objective truth. But then that's also really concerning, like how objective truth doesn't fit into you do you mentality in today's culture. I think it does confuse a lot of people.
I reckon it's a really important thing, right? Because you're like waking up each day and you're like, yeah, I know Jesus, like all that stuff you've just said, right? And you're claiming that as an objective truth, but I think the people around us are basically going, oh, yeah, man, you do you.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I kind of get what you're saying now. Yeah. Well, yeah. Wait, so the question was...
Don't worry about the question. We're having a conversation.
How does this fit in? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if people are constantly changing, like opinions, thoughts, ideology... and truth is whatever you want it to be. That means your truth is constantly changing.
Very
so
good.
that it's not grounded. Is that even truth then if something's completely changing? Because if one moment the truth is this and then 2 days later the truth is this, then then was that truth before ever a truth? You know what I mean?
Good, man.
That's deep. That's deep.
But I think that's what's so hard though, right? Is because sometimes we'll experience something and we go, this is objective truth.
Yeah.
It's like, well, how do you know that that's objective truth and not just your interpretation of what's going on? I think it's an important question.
I think that's... You would never know.
You would never know?
You wouldn't know if... I mean, with the truth, some truths, yes. But I think if you don't have... Wait, how am I trying to phrase this? What were you asking again? Like, how would you know whether your truth is the truth?
So, like, let me put it to you this way. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, we all agree color exists, right?
Yeah.
So, what is the color green?
What is the color green? The color green is the color green.
The color green is the color green.
Color green is color green.
Color green. Now, we could go to science, right? We can go, okay, actually, there's a color spectrum, Roy G. Biv. We can go, there's a visible light spectrum. Actually, this leaf is green because it's absorbing other wavelengths of light and it's reflecting back certain wavelengths. So we've got some scientific data that says green is actually within this kind of nanometer wavelength.
Yeah.
But how do you know that the way I actually see this green is the same way that you see green? So there is an objective truth in the sense of like, that is always going to be a specific wavelength.
Yeah.
But my interpretation of that might be different.
Yeah.
You can see now, like this is a difficult thing, right? Because I would say we're on the same page here that there is objective truth in that, like Jesus 100% is the way, the truth, the life. You know, the only option in which God put on a body came to planet Earth. I think this is what's hard for us as Christians. Is our job is how do you take that objective thing and try to present it in a way that actually we're all looking at the same color.
Yeah.
Are you picking up what I'm putting down?
Okay. Yeah.
So all that to say, okay, the reason I say that is because you guys are like in uni, like, I mean, neither of you have jobs though, right?
I have a job.
I have a job, okay.
Yeah.
Zeki doesn't have a job yet, or a license, or a girlfriend. You know, he's got a lot going for him.
Okay, we can end it right
I have
here.
a girlfriend
We can end it right
I have
here.
a girlfriend too. It's fine.
So how do you kind of navigate some of those conversations when you're like just in the day-to-day? Does it come up?
like when you're trying to present your objective or the objective truth
Well,
to
like
other
let's
people.
say you're at uni tomorrow, right? And someone's
Yeah.
like, "What are you doing this weekend?" You're like, "I'm playing bass." Are you saying that?
Like based at church.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm pretty open about my faith, I guess. But when it comes to like, if I'm trying to share the gospel to somebody, trying to put the truth, objective truth that I believe in a way they can understand, or I guess they, everyone's different, so I gotta put it in a way that they not necessarily like to hear it, but in a way I know this person, I know how I can share the gospel to them. It's hard. It's very hard because you don't want to kind of compromise the gospel, almost kind of water it down. But at the same time, you don't want to come across too strong. Yeah. I think there's a fine line there. It's like, yeah, it's hard. It's hard. But yeah, I never really thought about it like that though, because I've always been living like, I never really think about other people and how they see what I believe in,
Yeah, because we were both raised Christian, right? So we don't know what it's like for like a non-believer per se. How would they view the gospel? Like, would they view it? They wouldn't view it the same way as us because we were raised different, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We don't know any different type of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah. What about you?
What about me? I think you're right, Zeki. I think you got to work out. Here's some objective truth. So, like if I'm talking about this color green, right? The way that I'd explain this to a 4-year-old is not by going to like wavelengths of light, right? I'd talk to them about the rainbow, and I'd be like, "See, look, it's in the rainbow, just like it is for you, just like it is for me, right?" That's probably where I'd start because you kind of got to get to where people are at, right?
Yeah. That is true.
Very good.
It is hard.
All right. What about living out? So, like living out your faith, you've got like things that you believe. You've got maybe ways that you want to live or whatever. How do you live out an authentic Christian life in quite a culturally diverse world?
That's the question.
That's the question.
That's the question we're living in it, The answer is, I think it's different for everyone. But what comes to mind is like, do not conform to the ways of this world. Like, as Christians, we're called to be set apart and kind of going against the grain of culture. I think today's culture in the broken world, it's hard because you get put in like certain situations and friend group circumstances where it's very like opposite. It's very very opposite to what we believe in and what I try to stand firm in, and the temptation to kind of conform and just to be like everybody else is pretty hard. But to be authentic, I think it's just you have to have that integrity, when you're alone with God. Like, how is your relationship with God when you're alone? Are you rooted in truth? Are you seeking godly counsel? Are you I don't want to say that your relationship with God is based on how much you pray or read the Bible, but it definitely has a effect to how you stand firm in situations that temptation. What does temptation?
Yeah, that's great.
So I guess well, you're right. Like, out of that relationship with God, the more you spend time with Him, the easier it is for you to live an authentic faith.
Yeah.
Like, on that note, I think when I was in high school, I would try my hardest to live an authentic faith, but it was rooted in me just trying to do the right thing. So it wasn't authentic because I wasn't actually living out my faith.
It's almost like you're trying to put on.
Yeah, it's like I was trying to put on an act like, I'm Christian, so I'll do this and this. But I think you're completely right. It becomes authentic when you spend time with God, and then naturally that just crosses over into how you behave in your everyday life, and that's how you live an authentic faith, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's like you said, like I think there's a myth out there that's like, you got to behave a certain way, so then you try to change your outward activity to make it look
Yeah.
like you're something.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, what are you doing? Whereas like
Yeah.
if you're like, oh, I just spent like time with God this morning and now I'm aware
Yeah.
of like the people in front of me
Yeah.
in a different way.
Yeah. Definitely. I think it's that I don't know, it came to mind. It's not per se behavior modification, but your heart transformation. You know, when you start with it all starts with the heart, you know. And all your actions and everything you say, how you compose yourself in the outside, just leaks from a heart surrendered, I think. But yeah.
It's very good.
So with that, because I think again we're like a few generations apart, what is like the vibe around like your kind of generation, like 18 to 21, I guess? What is the feeling towards like Christianity?
I think it's not. It's generally definitely not positive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at this age, everyone's all about having fun. Everyone's all about having fun, you know, pleasure,
Yeah.
what the thing to do is on the weekend.
Yeah.
Like a lot of my friends in uni and people from my high school that,
Which again, there's no judgment here.
Yeah,
right?
no
There's
judgment, no.
at all.
like, you know, the most common thing to do is like go parties, go clubbing.
Yeah.
And as Christians, obviously we're not, we don't do those things because of our beliefs. And because of that, I found that often it can have other people can have a negative view towards us because
Yeah. It's like with the fun killers.
The fun.
like
police.
the fun,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
fun police. you
Oh
know?
no, Zech's here.
Yeah.
Bro,
Like, I think they have the wrong like they have a very skewed perception of what Christianity is.
yeah,
You know, whether it be media, social media, or you know, like how your parents brought you up as a Christian. It's very much like, oh, you guys have no fun. You know,
yeah. It's like
being a Christian is like not what I experience anyway. But yeah,
like I think what a lot of non-Christians perceive it as is Christians trying to be good just so they can enter heaven.
Yeah,
You know what I
very
mean? Like
interesting.
not like, oh, you're not living your life because your life must be so, you know, so boring because you don't get to do all this and this. But it's actually the opposite. You know, life is more fruitful when we do the right things. When we listen to the Holy Spirit, when we do what God teaches us to do, it's for our good. It's not a fun killer. We actually have more fun in a sense by not doing those things.
Well, I reckon it's an interesting paradox because you've got this cultural formation or this cultural narrative that is saying the best thing for you to do is have as much fun as possible. And
Yeah.
fun is defined as, you know, whatever. You can put whatever you want on this list. But effectively, your life becomes about like pleasure or joy or fun or whatever it is, which is really just a story, right? It's not like that's not based in objective truth. That's like a narrative that our culture has told us that like, hey, have fun. That's the point of your life. But ironically, this is what I find funny, is that is more oppressive in some respects because it's like, oh, you can't fit in with everyone unless you do these certain behaviors.
Yeah.
Which in some respects is like kind of why Christianity gets dragged through the mud because it's like, oh, you tell people what to do. It's like, oh, so does the cultural narrative. It just doesn't feel like it because that's what everybody's doing.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Yeah.
So good.
But would you say though that that feeling of like fun police, would that be your experience of life? You can be honest. This is an open conversation.
I think right now, sometimes, back in high school, would you say it was like fun police back in high school? I'm going to be honest. Back in high school, I was not like a good Christian per se. So I conformed to the patterns of this world. And
No judgment.
No judgment.
I found out
no
that
perfect
that's
people
not
allowed.
the way. Yeah, no perfect people
Like,
allowed.
Why did you find that out? What happened?
Why did I find out that was not the way?
Yeah.
Because each time I try to have the world's way of fun, I was trying hard to fit in, but I often found that I'd have to keep doing something for the validation of others. And sometimes, like, don't get me wrong, like validation from others feels really, really good.
100%. Like we have a deep desire to be
yeah,
loved,
we have
right?
exactly. So,
Yeah.
but like what I found is other people, they'll never live up to like your standards. So they're not always going to validate you. And
Ooh.
at the end of the day, you're just going to be striving for no reason,
Yeah.
Yeah.
basically.
You like
It's like
hunting?
an endless cycle of, oh, what can I do to have fun in this? What can I do to be like approved by other people? So I found out the hard way that, it's not the way of life.
Yeah.
But did I ever feel like I was the fun police?
Yeah.
Kind of, but at the same time, like I'm doing it from a place of like love. Whenever I would enter conversations that I didn't want to partake in, I would like, hey guys, or if my friends, or like some people I know make some jokes that are a bit too far. I'm like, hey guys, we shouldn't be talking about that. But like, oh come on, it's just a joke, But it's weird because your mind kind of changed. Because to be honest, I used to find like crude humor, dark humor funny, but now the more I think about it, it's as what you say has a lot of impact and a lot of power. But I think because my mindset has changed from like trying to see myself as like higher than everyone else because I'm a Christian, to now being like, I'm in it with you guys. You guys are my brothers and sisters too. I'm trying to correct you in a way of love, I wouldn't say it's a fun police. I don't feel like...
Interesting. So it's almost like the attitude before was like, I'm right, you're wrong.
Yeah.
You need to, whereas now you're like, actually, I'm just going to get in the thick of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
But yeah.
I find it really interesting just to come back to what you were saying before of like finding like crude and dark humor funny. And that's like all teenage boys, right? It's like, oh my gosh, penis joke, the best thing ever. I'll be fully, like I got suspended. Oh, not suspended. I had to write a letter of apology to the college when I was in year 12 because I drew like a giant penis on someone's book. So whatever it is, right? Teenage boys are like this. I think what I find funny is you then become an adult and like the cultural narrative is kind of like, don't grow out of that. It's almost like maturity is like, oh, you became boring.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, I just kind of grew up a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. It has nothing to do with it. I just
No,
thought it was
yeah.
fun. So how does that so we got a big sign on the front that says no perfect people allowed. What is that like? How do we navigate this kind of weird thing where we're like, hey, Jesus loves you. He died for you. He's inviting you into this rich existence, like greater purpose, greater mission, like whatever. So some of your behavior's got to change, but also like no perfect people allowed. Is this like, how do you find this?
I think it just reminds me of that phrase, that come as you are, like, but in the process, don't stay as you are. Yeah. So Christianity is for everyone. Like we all were sinners. That's why we need God. So no perfect people allowed. If you had to be perfect every time you stepped into a church, then no one would be stepping inside a church.
Come on.
So and navigating that is like, you just got to tell people from a place of love, not from like what you said, not from a place of self-righteousness. Like, no, you have to do this because this is the right way. Instead, it's like from a place of love. Like, I'm your brother and sister. I want to help you.
Yeah.
This is what the best way is for you.
Yeah.
I think it's what's so polarizing about Jesus, right? Is that he was perfect, right? So he had every right to come in as the judgmental king, but instead, like, gets dinner with Zacchaeus, who's like this gross tax collector that no one else would associate with, and he's like, "No, let's get dinner, man. Like, let's do it." Find that pretty humbling, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't reckon I'm like that. I reckon there's a part of me that's still like, "Oh yeah, but you're a bit rough around the edges," like.
Yeah.
How do you guys tackle that judgmentalism? Because I'm sure it's in you too, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
How do I tackle that jump? I try to put my pride aside.
Oof.
Like, it's hard.
This guy's just dropping.
So good. This
No,
guy's dropping
like,
heat,
gold,
man.
guys.
For real, like, I do have that judgmentalism in me, but whenever that comes up, I just feel like it's not, it shouldn't be there, obviously. I think that's that conviction, but I always try to remember who I am without Christ. I think that when you humble yourself to know that, you can't do anything without him,
Mhm.
it's like we are all in the same boat. Like we all need
Mhm.
Jesus. So
Mhm.
I'm not here to like think myself higher as you, or we're all eating from the same table
Yeah.
type of vibe. Yeah.
Actually, that's very good. How I kind of conquered it is my dad told me this one very good thing.
Just
He said
one. Just one good
whenever he told me this one good thing over the past 19 years. It was so whatever you do for the, like, it's from the scripture.
Yeah.
Jesus said whatever you did for those in need, you did for me.
Mhm.
So every person
Ooh.
I see that is in need of Christ or is in need of help of some way, I see them as, I try my best to see them as Jesus.
Mm.
And obviously if I try to see them as Jesus, it's like, oh yeah, I want to do everything for you.
Yeah.
So then it sort of, it shifts from like, I don't want to help you, to like, oh, come on.
That's so good.
Like this is Jesus right now standing in front of me.
Mhm.
Or someone to help him, and
Yeah, which
That's
is a
good.
great way to kind of remove that judgmentalism, right? Because then you're like,
yeah.
oh, well, of course I'd sacrifice for Jesus. So
Yeah.
why would I not? Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to come back to your thing on humility, Zeki. I'm just thinking of an analogy right now. Tell me if this is the right way of thinking. It's kind of like you're on a ship and the ship starts sinking,
Mm.
and then someone throws you the life buoy,
Mm.
and then you're like, hey, why don't you idiots have a life buoy?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, well, come on, man. Someone threw it to
Exactly.
you. Like, it's nothing to do with you. It was just a gift.
Exactly.
All right.
That's a good way to put in it.
Interesting.
But yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about cancel culture a little bit more, because I want to talk about, like, it's coming from a great place, I think, right?
For sure.
It's coming from a thing of like, hey, we don't do that.
Mm.
That's really what it is, right?
Yep.
Mm.
Yep.
So what does justice look like in your generation? Does justice exist?
Or like in terms of cancel culture, I think it does exist for sure.
Okay, tell me.
For sure. You see so many, like, okay, I'm going to put it in the context of celebrities again.
Okay.
Like, you see up and coming artists, they're doing well. Life is great for them. They got the money, they got the fame, followers, and then they do something pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
They're gone. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's no hope for return.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what the world's perspective of justice is you getting what you deserve. And like, no grace, no mercy whatsoever for you.
Interesting.
And you're stuck there.
So the justice is not real justice, right? It's like, it's just extreme punishment.
Yeah.
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 It's a very twisted
Harsh, very harsh way.
perspective and harsh
Yeah.
way of what justice actually is.
Yeah.
But do you reckon it is consistent, even like the cancel culture?
Is it consistent?
Now thinking about it, some not really. Like there are times where I think people do give grace, which is amazing, and you see like a change for the better in the person who gets cancelled. But yeah, I think grace in the context of Christianity is like universal. Even in non-believers, like people understand that, you know what, let's give him a chance. Let's give him a chance to change, which I think is pretty cool.
So from your perspective, would like grace and justice be something that they have to walk together?
I think so. I think like I don't deserve. I mean, I do deserve hell, because I was born a sinner, but God saved me, and it's not like God is very just in the fact that He didn't just ignore the sin, but the sin was dealt through with Christ, and so that justice was borne with Christ on the cross, and grace for me in the sense that I get to now live in this new life that I found through Christ. But yeah,
I reckon it's a very good point, right? Because a lot of people talk about like Old Testament God, like, oh, he was like quite angry. Well, he's the same God. I think we sometimes forget that all of that anger was absorbed by Jesus on the cross.
Yeah.
Like for us,
Yep.
which is like crazy justice, that he would literally take the place that we deserve of that wrath and that anger.
exactly.
But then it's crazy that it's not only that he absorbs it, but then he breathes new life into us,
Oh, that's crazy.
gives us the Holy Spirit, and says,
Amen.
now please be part of my worldwide mission
Yeah,
That's
to go and change the world, to reconcile them back to me.
so good.
Isn't that is wild, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
But then how does that work in this weird cancel culture thing where it's like you say one thing wrong and it's like, that's it, you're done?
Yeah, well, it's like what you said. There's like no grace at all in cancel culture. You do one bad thing and you're cooked. You're gone. And that's like quite literally the opposite of Christianity, because Christianity preaches grace and forgiveness.
Crazy.
Cancel culture is all about it's all about like the non-existence of that. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, like you said it, right? It's like you need to get what's coming to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're going to decide
Yeah.
what's coming
like,
to
who
you.
are we to decide what you get, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like what you said, you know, like it comes from a good place. Like you shouldn't be doing wrong. You should be doing like what's right, of course, if you're a person of, especially with nowadays social media, like if you're a person of influence, you should be doing what's right as an example for others. But rather than teaching you like, and like, okay, you messed up, this is like the right way, next time don't do it again. It's just like, nah, you're gone.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's just it's bad.
But I reckon what's interesting about it is like what has been defined as the right thing.
Oh yeah, very true.
Right. So like I'm not on social media at the moment, so I don't really know what's going on. But like my understanding is like the Super Bowl was recently and like Kanye did something that was like objectively wrong. Like
Yeah.
like I think he said something about like, you know, being a Nazi or something crazy like that, right?
It's just Kanye being Kanye.
But then like Yeezy's sales are like through the roof. So like what is right? Because that I think a lot of people would go, no, we definitely don't believe in that. And yet somehow that doesn't get cancelled.
Yeah.
So like where are we defining what is right in the
I think all people have a sense of we're all given a sense of what's right and wrong. I think that's what it comes from. But then what you're asking is, why are some things that are definitely wrong? Like, why are they okay? Right? That's what you're trying to ask, right? Honestly, I don't know.
Well, I reckon it's interesting, right? Because we've got this culture that's craving justice, that's craving like, no, there needs to be like a clear, this is right, this is wrong. But we're kind of basing the right and wrong almost of like, what are the most people believe to be the right option?
Yeah, it's like not on an objective truth. It's more of like how many people believe this? Okay, I'll believe it as well.
Yeah, it's kind of like this, that subjective thing of like, oh, that's what we're doing now. Oh, okay, cool. Well, we'll all do that then.
Yeah.
Which I just find that's a very hard way then to issue justice because it can't be consistent. Right?
Yeah, it's changing with every moment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard because like so many like it's definitely what you say, like majority. It's what the majority believes, and in a sense we want to follow that because like who are we to like share our truth because we're only one person, you know. It's definitely hard to
You're saying it's more of like the justice is people like they conform to what the world's justice is just to fit in a sense, right? Like it's not actually because they believe in that ideology.
I mean, they might actually believe in it, but I reckon there would be the majority of people have not probably critically thought about it.
Yeah.
And I think we would be included in that as well, right? There'll be like cultural issues right now, which if I asked you, you'd be like, oh, I don't know, but I think this is what Instagram says.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
do you know what I mean? Like, I think there's so many issues like that are kind of like we're culturally formed, which we don't really kind of think about how formed we are by that culture.
Yeah.
Because we don't stop to critically think about it. Because it's honestly easier not to, right? It's easier to just go, oh, that's what we're doing now.
Yeah.
We'll all get on board. Which I think, again, which is what's so interesting about Christianity, like coming back to the original thing of like, it's neither progressive or conservative because it is like always true and it's always consistent. And so there will be some things that we are like more progressive on and there'll be some things that maybe we're more conservative on. But ultimately, like we're not using the cultural barometer to decide which way we're going. We're going, no, this is like Jesus says, love your enemy. Like, dang. That's kind of timeless. You know, it's like,
you can't.
I can't really get out of that one. You know, it's like, I don't like that guy. Well, too bad. You got to love him. Joe was like, I find that funny.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk. Let's talk some biblical stuff. You've already mentioned this one. Do not conform to the pattern of this world. Let's talk Jesus, though. Jesus says, be salt and light in the world. You guys know this verse?
I do.
Yeah, tell me about it. What do you know about it, Zeki?
Actually, a while ago I did read this verse and I looked more into why he says salt. And I kind of forget, but correct me on this, but I think back in the day salt had many purposes, many uses. I think it's used to like preserve meat or like food.
Very good.
I think it's also like something to do with cleaning something, cleaning the floor. I don't know, but it did have a lot of purpose and meaning, and I think that being salt and light of the world in a world full of darkness is a very rare thing, and it's a very hard thing to do. But I think it is needed, because a lot of people don't know Christ and don't know is born in only what they know, and for us to be salt and light, we have to illuminate what Jesus represents and his love to others that don't know, who's in the dark per se. But yeah,
I think it's Paul. He says their foolish hearts were darkened as they exchanged the created God for the creature.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, it's not your fault. Like at the end of the day, if you don't know the majesty of God, then how can you know that there's another option other than like living what's in front of you? But I think I want to come back to your salt thing. I think you're right. So salt in cooking, right, always brings out flavor.
Oh, yeah.
And it's used to preserve, right? Like, yeah. Because your mom knows how to cook.
Oh,
that is...
Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God.
So what I find interesting is like that call to be salt and light, I think, is kind of to preserve the best parts of our culture.
Yeah.
Because there's some awesome parts of our culture, man. Like, because that we are made in the image of God, and our whole people group is fighting for, hey, we want justice, we want the right things. So we've got to find a way to preserve that best part and bring out the flavor that's actually in our culture that actually goes, hey, that thing that you are wanting to fight for is actually because there's a beautiful truth that is found in the person of Jesus.
Yeah.
How we do that, we've got to be able to shine light on that, right? But you can't do that if you're in like a little holy huddle.
Yeah.
You've actually got to be willing to kind of be in the cultural flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's why I love so much back when we were really when the Full Perth thing really popped off. Or not popped off, but was introduced. It was like we are not only for ourselves, or we are not only for Cannington, we are not only for the small groups we're in, but we're for the person shopping at Carousel, we're for like the person up north, person down south, we're for everybody. And for the church to be Baldivers. Come on, can't forget my family, Baldivers. But I think it's very important that the church and ourselves as believers, as followers of Christ, to go out into the world. No, not to keep to ourselves. Because what's a light if you put something on it? What's a lamp if you put a blanket over it? You know what I mean? You got to be able to shine. Hey, shine, man. Shine. Shine the light.
Shine, man.
Hashtag shine the light.
You make that a hashtag.
Exactly.
Hashtag shine the light.
I'm just remembering, I think there's like a vintage Hillsong song. It's like, shine your light and let
the whole world see?
Yeah.
Wait, what is that song?
For the glory of the risen King, something like that.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I think it was before my time, but I've like heard it on like albums where people are like, this is like one of the goated albums. I'm like, oh, cool.
Bring back old Hillsong, man.
Bring back old Hillsong.
So good. So good.
You guys been writing music though.
We try to keep it undercover, you know.
Sorry, now it's out. Now it's out.
God, bro.
It's fun, but yeah. Hopefully we reach more people with that music.
Yeah. Nothing to do with podcasts, but whatever. All right, let's get practical. Let's get practical here. So, I don't know about you. Okay, you guys know me fairly well. I think I'm a pretty fiery, direct person most of the time.
Amen.
And so I can get pretty caught up in like the emotions of things. This is why I have to remove myself from social media, because I'm like, if I get stuck in the social media spiral, I like get really stuck in it. How do you guys navigate like not getting stuck in the social media spiral? Not like doom scrolling necessarily, but like getting angry about stuff that like really doesn't matter.
Not gonna lie, I'm not great with that.
I recently me too. Like me and Zech, we both share our struggles in terms of
Okay.
In terms of, I wouldn't say getting angry at social media, but angry at ourselves because of social media.
Yeah, I think
The-
like that spiral though, like that's when I get angry at things I know I shouldn't be. When I get too involved into social media matters or matters that don't even add to my life, that's how I know I'm in too deep. That's how I know I need to like.
Can you give us an example
Yeah,
of
okay.
what
Yeah,
you got,
give us
like,
give
what
us an
you get
example.
angry
I
at?
agree. Yeah.
Hmm.
While you're thinking, I'll share mine. Okay.
Okay.
So you guys know I'm like pretty into triathlon. Like
Yeah.
a couple of years ago, there's like a guy that won a PTO open race, which is like a pretty big deal. Wins like $100,000 US. Like it's a massive prize. Anyway, like a couple of months later, turns out he's been like doping. Right. He's on this drug called
man.
EPO. And I remember when the podcast like came out, like this guy's like you know, he gets the story, and I'm like trying to get the baby to sleep, and I'm listening to this podcast, and I'm getting more and more mad.
No, the baby.
And I'm like in the rocking chair with the baby, but I'm listening to this thing, and I'm like the injustice of this because the podcast guy's like so mad about it as well. And then the baby wakes up, and I go out to Kira, and I'm like, "Can you believe this guy cheated?" And Kira's like, dude, what are you talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, yeah.
But I'd like let myself get so hyped. And I'm like, oh, no one else understands what
Exactly.
is going on.
Exactly.
But I put myself in this weird silo and then got totally over.
Oh man.
yeah.
But I'm not alone in that, am I?
No, you're not.
Do
You're not.
you want to go first?
You can.
I actually got really, really, really angry at something recently.
You got to talk into the mic though, Jayden, okay? We don't want to miss this.
Luka Doncic got traded to the Lakers.
Oi, this is actually big.
Oh
This is
my
very real
gosh,
and still
you don't
fresh.
understand.
Yeah.
So, okay, this is a crazy story. I forgot what the original question was.
No,
but I'm
this,
just gonna
let's go
on
with
my
this
rant.
though. This is good.
We had youth retreat just to prepare our hearts for youth ministry. And it was the final day, and the meeting had just started, like, of the overview for the term. And my phone started blowing up, and I thought, I was like, oh my gosh, am I like a celebrity or something? And then everyone sent me, Luka Doncic got traded to the Lakers. I called Pastor D. I called Pastor D straight away. I said, Dad, Luka got traded for a bag of donuts.
In the middle of the meeting.
He got traded for Anthony Davis and nothing. And then my dad was like, nah, you're lying. Until I had to convince him, like, until the end of the phone call, he didn't believe me.
No way.
Yeah, and then when I came home, he was sitting like this. It's like, son, true. Yeah, it was bad.
It was bad.
That's how. Okay, do you think that's like me like getting too deep into culture nowadays, or that's fine being a massive sports fan, eh?
I don't want to judge you, brother.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
By the
you're
way,
on a youth retreat to get right with the Lord, and
I
you're
didn't.
like,
I don't
Mavs
think I
suck.
remember anything from that last day. I just so angry. I
You're
started.
so angry.
I nearly
Yeah.
punched one of the doors in the Roxbar Divers, but
That's
man.
a prime example.
yeah.
There's a great example
Also,
of getting sucked down the cultural hole.
Just want to add, Luka getting traded was an injustice, and the owner of the Mavs got cancelled.
Oh, he
Did
did.
they
He
actually?
did. He actually
Yeah,
did. Yeah.
he got mega cancelled.
Oh,
though.
interesting.
Like mega cancelled, as he should. As he should.
There we go.
Nah, I'm
There we go.
I'm joking. But it's gotten so far though. He like to the point where he's getting sent, like death threats.
That's crazy because my understanding with
crazy.
I know this is not the point, but like the Mavs especially though, right? They got that crazy CEO a couple of years ago, and she like turned the club around, right? She was like super good.
She bought a majority of the Mavs, and I think
She basically like reset the culture and like took them basically to almost a ring.
Yeah. Oh, that was the GM that traded Luka. Yeah.
Oh wow.
He was new. Yeah. His
Okay.
That's why it's so like. This is a bit off topic, but it's so There's a lot of conspiracy theories because he's made so many good moves in the past.
Ah,
that it's
Jaden, we
just
can't go down this. See,
Nah,
this
we
is the
can't, we
problem.
can't. Let's
You
just
are
go-
deep down. This is it, man.
down.
You're
Yeah.
outraged about
Yeah.
something that has no impact on
like,
your life.
I reflected on it and I was like, wow, why don't I ever get this angry at actual injustice going on in the world? You know? Like, why am I angry at like something that really
Yeah,
subjectively does not really matter?
Well, literally, this is my point, right? So you get so dark and fired up about this thing, and what are we talking about? We're talking about a multi-millionaire who genetically got lucky at 7 foot whatever,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and was able to play basketball. And it's a great basketball player, great sport player. Don't get me wrong, like mad respect. But at the end of the day, you are more angry about a guy getting traded
Then like people getting killed and
than
whatnot.
like someone out on the street that hasn't eaten in a few days.
That's so convicting. My God.
But I reckon this is the problem with cancel culture is that it actually distracts us from the real injustice in the world.
100%.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
100%. We get so caught up in like, not to judge any like reality TV show, watchers at home, but like, come on, someone goes home, someone gets out, no one, that doesn't matter at the end of the day. Come on, man.
Have you guys read 1984 by George
I've
Orwell?
heard of it.
Not.
Okay, you got to read this. Okay, it's don't do the audiobook. You got to actually
Okay.
read it. But basically, it's like this premise that like there's these screens everywhere, and the screens tell people what to think and like how to live. He wrote this like back in this a long time ago,
Yeah.
maybe 60s or 70s. Let's just fast forward to 2025.
That's literally what's going on.
Yeah. That's
Right.
literally, but it's right in their faces. They don't.
Yeah, well,
And
it's in
it's-
our faces, right? We're
Yeah.
On our
distracted
faces,
from the real injustices in the world because we get stuck in this cancel culture bubble.
How do you think we can sort of fix that or navigate that?
Oh, thanks so much for asking. Jayden. I agree. How do you fix it? So, what boundaries do you think are helpful for us when it comes to social media usage?
Yeah, well, obviously social media has some good things about it. You know,
100%.
it gives you a talking ground with other people that you're trying to bring to the kingdom.
Oh, come on.
But you just don't want to get, as you said, you don't want to get stuck in that. So setting boundaries are super important.
So, do you know your screen times? What's your screen times at the moment?
Okay.
What's yours?
So mine's the worst it's ever gone is maybe like 9 hours.
Dang.
But
On the
we-
phone only?
Okay,
Or is that
I have
laptop
an
as well?
iPad. I have an iPad as well.
Was that
So 9
combined
hours
or-
on the phone plus time on the iPad.
Oh,
That's what the worst it's
oh.
Thank
gone.
you for your honesty.
Yeah, okay.
That's powerful.
Being transparent. But as of recently, probably like 6 combined, my iPad and phone, 6 hours.
Okay, so you're going probably like 10 hours plus combined
Yeah.
to like 6.
But keep in mind that I do use my iPad for university. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're not studying enough now.
Oh, well,
Nah, I'm joking.
I could be
Okay.
more, but
What about you? What's yours at?
I could check right now. I checked yesterday. Average was about 4 hours 50.
it's not bad.
So like close to 5.
Close to
So you
5
guys are
hours,
about
yeah.
the same.
Mm.
Yeah. Which I think would be most people. I think.
Yeah.
That's
But-
why I deleted social media off my phone though, because I'm like, I don't have 5 hours a day.
I recently deleted it as well.
I'm going to do that as well.
Yeah.
No.
Come on, boundaries, baby.
Recently.
But
I'm a
it's-
big
it's
believer in
hard.
screen time limit. Like I'm an hour on all social media.
Oh, the boundaries was set screen time, but I'd always press ignore the limit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
I
key
just
with this,
I was
though,
so
reckon-
hooked to it. So
yeah,
I just had to
because I
delete it.
preached on this last year, but I forgot to put in there. You got to get someone else to do the passcode
Yes.
so that you can't then you can't bypass it.
Yes.
That's
Oh,
the key.
right.
So you
Yeah,
set the
yeah,
screen
yeah.
time limit
That's
an
smart.
hour or whatever you want to set it to, but then you get like Zeki to put the passcode in.
We need
so
to do that after this, hey.
so that
Yeah,
you don't know
I'll give
it.
you-
So then you can't bypass it. Yeah.
Can we
That's
give you like the passcode so you can
I'm not going to
be the guy.
enable you. I'm not gonna, you do it for each other. You guys are good
Come
friends.
on, we got it.
I don't want to be
this.
dog. I'll probably put the passcode in for him.
No, don't do it, man.
I'm
Be
so
strong.
Please, bro, please. Please.
All right.
No.
So then how do we, okay, so like there's a real reality, right? So we're in this weird cancel culture thing. Someone comes to you and they're like in a place of hurt. Like something's happened in their life because of their own decisions, right? Like they've, I don't know, done something stupid. How do you show empathy at the same time as like holding true to your, I don't know, your like beliefs and convictions? So like, let's say like total hypothetical, right? But like Zeki comes to you and he's like, bro, I drove without my license. I got caught by the police and mum's car got impounded, right?
Or
That's bad.
How do you navigate that conversation?
I'd cheer him up, obviously. I'd try my best. But actually no, I probably would just grieve with him. Like, bro, I'm sorry that happened, man. Like, I'm so sorry that happened. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's not your fault, you know. I wouldn't reaffirm like his actions, but I'd like grieve with him, and then maybe later on once he recovers, I'd be like, yeah, bro, you probably shouldn't have done that, but like now you know.
Yeah.
But I'd probably be sad with him. Honestly.
So at the time, it's like empathy.
At the
And then
time,
afterwards, it's like-
at the time, I'm just focused on empathy, and then I think after they've sort of like gotten back to their bases, then it's like, then you can sort of give them some wisdom,
Yeah.
but not from a place of self-righteousness, from a place of love, obviously.
Yeah.
But I've often found like when you try to give advice in the or when you try to share wisdom in the moment of like when they're grieving or whatnot, or when they're like super angry or whatnot, it's just it never seems to work because they're not in the right mindset.
Have you guys heard of the Resilience Project? Have you guys heard of this?
No.
So the Resilience Project is by a guy called Hugh Van Carlenberg. Basically, like launches this program, whatever. But one of the presenters on there is a guy called Martin Heppel, and he like recently was on Hamish Blake's podcast called "How Other Dads Dad." So it's a long loop to get to the But this guy Martin Heppel, he's talking about exactly this, right? So someone's like, you know, what happens? Your kid like really stuffs up real bad. Like, how do you handle it? And he's like, he's like the most intense guy ever. And I can't say the whole thing because he swears a lot, which is
Okay.
great. But he's like, oh, mate, they mess up, mate. I'm like arms around him. I'm like, look, mate, you're a bloody dead set ripper. And like full like, and then he's like, but then, mate, like a week later or maybe the day after, I'm like, hey, mate, you behave like a real S truck. And if you keep behaving like that, you're not going to have any friends.
Yeah, right.
That's exactly
But
the way.
it's kind of the same thing, right? Of
I love
like,
the accent, man.
yeah.
That was
He's
so
like, you got to listen to it. It's great. But it's like that kind of thing of like, hey, in the moment, it's like, hey, get in here, man.
Yeah.
You are loved no matter what.
yeah.
But like also, if you keep doing that, that is not going to
Yeah,
it's
right.
not going to end well for you, right?
Exactly.
Whereas cancel culture is like not the former or the latter. It's just like
You're gone.
you're gone.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny, actually.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah, it's funny.
Okay,
It is sad.
let's talk about one of our values. Okay, our values here, we call it ownership. We say we'll do anything short of sin to reach people.
Yep.
This can very easily become, I will do sin to reach people.
Oh, so true.
What are your thoughts on this? Share me some.
Like I would go to the extremes.
Yeah,
reach
where you're
people?
like, like where is the line of like, I'll do anything short of it, but like, what? I'm just going to step over a little bit. It's for the kingdom.
Oh.
To use your words.
Oh.
Asking me.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm
Yeah.
like, would
Done this so many times. Oh my gosh! But I don't know. I don't know if I want my mom to know though. You know what I mean?
Come on. You've already mentioned it.
it's out there
Let's go.
now. And honestly, all of us have done sin.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not. It's not like it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, Jayden did sin. Everybody. Oh.
Yeah,
You don't have to share specifics, but like it's a hard tension.
it's hard. Yeah, it's really hard. It's like in high school in year 11, I was kind of on this run of like I want to bring people to the kingdom because I had a motivational sermon on Sunday,
Oof.
and then yeah, like I was in the school bathrooms, with the boys, and like I was just trying to like yeah, kind of like get closer to them, like know them a bit more, like try care for them. Then they all had like chuffs. If you know what that is, it's like a vape. I was like, they offered me one. I was like, oh, you know what? I didn't think for the kingdom, but like, but yeah, it's very easy to just like get close, like near that border, but then yeah, you just fall over.
Yeah.
So I've kind of learned now that you just have to be grounded in your faith. Like basically more time with God more time with God equals less likely to cross that border of sin,
Yeah, I used to justify it all the time. I think when I was in my 20s, of like I'd pull the Paul verse where he's like, I become like the Jew to preach to the Jew, and like I would just like do dumb stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's because I'm trying to preach. It's like, no, you're not, dude.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Damn.
You never crossed that border though.
I mean, okay,
Maybe like
no, maybe not to the extreme, but like if we're talking about just keeping in mind that what I say matters. If I'm in a conversation where the boys are gossiping or swearing or talking nonsense, it's hard for me to not, especially back in high school, because it's like I'm around them every day,
Yeah,
5
100%.
days a week.
yeah, it's hard in high school. You're right.
And then, but then like, yes, I'm trying to evangelize to them. But then if I'm using the same language as them, how am I different? How am I like set apart? And why would they believe me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would they even have to hear?
Because there is nothing markedly different about your life, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Zeki's one of the boys.
Mm.
He also does that other thing, but like whatever.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think it is hard, right?
Mm.
And it's like the classic of like, show me your 5 friends and I'll show you who you'll be in 5 years.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It is hard because we're kind of called to be, like Jesus and set apart and holy and sacred. I think can't remember who it is, but it's like you are a royal priesthood, a holy nation set apart for God's purposes. But at the same time, you can't just like live this isolated life.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Tough one to navigate, I think.
Tough one to navigate. I think especially in high school, because it's like what you said, show your 5 friends.
But also like your brain hasn't developed yet.
Also, your brain hasn't developed yet.
Yeah.
You're still young. You don't understand some things.
Yeah.
And then if you're around people like constantly 5 days a week for 6 hours who aren't Christian, then it's like that just makes it like so like insanely hard to not like cross that line.
Mm.
100% it does.
Yeah.
And I think that doesn't ever go away, right? Because the reality is like you're then going to go and get a job or you're going to go to uni, and like the likelihood that you're in an all Christian environment is not going to be the case.
Yeah.
Which is why I think it's so important to have a very healthy community around you.
Yeah.
For sure.
You know, which like you guys have got that in spades. You got like adults, you got youth, you got Sundays, you got so many different ways in which you get that around you. But I think it is hard when you're in that. That's like I think like for boys especially, like 15 to 21, where like your prefrontal cortex is not quite there yet, so you physically can't see where your decisions lead. Like it's a real limitation. So
Yeah.
you're like,
Oh wow.
this is a great decision, and then like a week later, you're like, why did I do that?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
because your brain actually can't do that yet. Whereas for girls, it's way sooner.
Wait, so I have an excuse then.
No, but yes. Like I would just say this is what's so hard though, right? And I think like so many times Christians get so judgmental of each other. Like, have you heard? And it's like, yeah, but come on, man. Like look at the larger context of a life, and you know, there's a lot of other factors that are at play. And yeah, sin is sin, and it is a problem, and it has real consequences.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Jesus ate with sinners,
Yeah.
called them out on their sin 100%, but still managed to have dinner with them.
How did Jesus do that? Probably because he was perfect, but
I think it's his perfect grace and perfect truth all the time. I think this is a hard thing for Christians, right?
Perfect grace.
Is that we think we've got to balance grace and truth. It's like, oh, I'm going to be extra gracious here and I'll dial back the truth a little bit. But Jesus is just all grace, all the truth, all the time,
Yeah.
which I think is what we're supposed to be, which is hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is hard.
well, I guess it's like if Jesus was like that, and the more time we spend with Jesus,
Oh,
the
come
more
on.
we become like him.
Come on.
And it's like what I said before, like more time with Jesus means like, yeah, you instead of balancing the grace and truth, it's like more of both and more
Yeah.
of both each day. And
Yeah.
it's just super important to be grounded in your faith. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard when people don't like it's hard when people don't want to accept the truth. I think they might know it deep down inside what they're missing out on or what they're doing is inherently wrong. But I think one of my I've heard before, like people don't want to accept the truth because I think they're scared of changing or they're scared of like exposing themselves and feeling maybe a bit of insecurity, like to believe something that they don't know anything about. But yeah, 100% grace, 100% truth, and Jesus is the best. Man.
Jesus is the goat. Jesus even got cancelled, right?
Jesus got cancelled, man.
Jesus got cancelled. He's still
did.
the goat.
Yeah.
So cancel culture actually existed like back then as well.
It's not new. It's definitely not new.
Damn.
It's not new.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on all this stuff, fellas?
All this stuff. Any closing words?
Any closing remarks?
Zach?
Closing words. Oh man. I mean, not really. No. Any more?
He said it all. He's put
Said
it
it
all
all.
out.
No,
there.
no.
That's what it
You'd be
is.
doing too
I
much
love
if
this. I love this. I don't know.
No.
Any more points?
Nah, but we're out of time. This has been a great conversation. I've
Great.
enjoyed
It's
it.
been
great.
great,
It's been
man.
great.
It's been great.
Thanks for being on.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for
having
having
me.
us.
Yeah.
Final words. Forgive others.
Oh, I doubled down on that. I doubled down. Thank you.
Thanks.
Forgive others, but Nico Harrison, who traded Luca.
Yeah, we can end it there.
We'll see you next week.
You need to include that in.